Hi, everybody. Well, it's so great to see you both. I'm here with Sharon Case and Linden Ashby, and we have a great chat for you. I'm so glad I got you both together at this exciting 20 years later, right? At least.
I know. It's been pretty much exactly 20 years.
Right. And I want to say, so Linden, has terrorizing Sharon been just as fun this time as it was
It's
years
better.
ago?
It's one of those things that it never gets old. And I don't think it was funny. I was watching the show today just to, catch up and see what's happened. And I think Nick and Sharon were talking, and they're like, can he be that delusional that he thinks he can make you get him to fall in love with him? And I'm like, yeah, it's not delusional. I can do this.
Yeah, for sure. You can do it, Linden. You're amazing. I love working with you. I loved it back then. You're such an amazing actor. You're so phenomenal to work with. I'm so glad you came back.
It's you.
Yeah, all you. None of this would be if not for you, Linden. You're amazing.
Oh no, you're amazing. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
There.
Huh? Yeah, and remember, so I was telling Linden, Sharon, when we sat down together for your 25th anniversary interview on the set, you and me.
I remember.
And I was going through the photos, and you said my all-time favorite story was Cameron Kirsten. You said it was your favorite from years ago.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it all started when, didn't she run away from a kiss and run out of town?
With me?
No, how she ended up meeting you. You went to Denver, right?
She was. Right? Yeah, she was in Denver. Yep, and we met.
Upset with Nick. We went to saw you in a bar, right?
Yep.
Hotel bar. We got drunk.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
Me too.
And we went back to the hotel to have a good time, and that started the whole thing.
I know. Who knew? 20 years later.
Gosh, 20 years later. This has been so much fun. I just want to tell you, I have had so much fun doing this. We had a lot of material. You had a lot of dialogue. Oof. We had a lot of, several scenes, day after day after day. It was a lot. And you know what? It's one of the hardest I've probably ever worked for such a long stretch of time. And it just went by well, not like nothing. It was hard work, but it was a joy.
The fun thing is it's like I walked in and saw you, and it was just like, when you see good friends after that length of time, and you just pick right up where you left off, You
really do. And we did. I remember we were in the coffee house. We weren't shooting a scene there or anything, I don't think. But no. We were just chatting, and the lights were down, and you're like, so what's been going on the last 20 years? And I'm like, well, I just filled you in quickly, and here's what's happened. We were like old friends that just didn't miss a beat,
No, it was great. It's
Didn't
great.
You get left in a cornfield?
Yeah.
Yep, we did. We last saw each other in a cornfield.
Wow, I can't believe that. I actually last saw you in a cornfield.
In a cornfield, he was left. Nick and her kind of tortured him he got some payback then.
Yeah. Well, you went to prison, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to prison for 20 years.
That's a long time to be in prison.
It's a long time. Yeah. And he doesn't seem to have changed. So
no, she didn't come and visit. She didn't,
I didn't visit. I didn't write. I didn't call.
Didn't call.
So I know I kind of read some of the interviews and backstory, Linden. Why was the time right this time to come back? I know they had wanted you to come back at other times.
They
never worked out, I guess.
Right. They talked to me last year about it, and I was in the middle of the Teen Wolf movie, and then I had another movie that was shooting in Boulder, and then I was directing a movie right after that. And it just I couldn't. The timing didn't work. And then this year, it was funny because I had something right before it, and I can't remember what it was. And then I had a family trip, and then I had this surf trip, and then I'm supposed to do another movie right afterwards, but that's a little up in the air right now with all the strikes happening. And it was just this window that it was like, I went, okay, Josh, yeah, let's do it. And he told me what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. And I was like, all right. And I'm like, I don't want, I don't want to be reformed. I want, and I love it because, on soaps a lot, you get bad guys that they talk about, this is their mind games. This is this is what they're doing. They're manipulating. Yeah, Cameron didn't manipulate anybody. Cameron came into town with his foot flat on the gas, beat a guy up, stole his stuff, killed a cat, kidnapped a kid. And yeah, he's not playing games. And it's really fun. It's fun and I think it'll be fun for the audience too. We don't have to wait around for this. It's happening, boom.
That's what I love about it. It is happening, right? It's not, I think in the world we live today, and we were talking about this too, Linda, like everything's fast. And sometimes people don't have the, to sit through everything, to drag it out. And this
it's tough because it's a medium that it's built on that you don't know who's watched, and not everyone watches every day. And so you got to sort of repeat a few things a few times, and you drag a story out for a bit longer than we are probably currently accustomed to in entertainment. And it's interesting, and but I think the medium has adapted, to our depreciating attention spans. Our shrinking attention span.
Sharon, you found out that they were going to have him come back. When did you know in the process? Did you know a lot ahead or not ahead, or did you guys communicate at all?
I didn't know terribly far ahead. I think I had known for a while that there was talk about this, that they had asked Linden to come back, but like Linden said, he was always busy and always booked on something. So I knew that was in the mix, in the works. I didn't know if it would ever come about. When I did find out for sure, it wasn't terribly far in advance. I was just given some broad stroke cliff notes about like what was going to happen. And I love this story. I love working with Linden, and this character is great because like Linden was saying, there's not a lot of really, really, really great villains in soaps that are just straightforward villains. Don't tinker around with anything at all. They just go right for the jugular. They're a bad guy and they mean it. And Linden plays that so well.
So well. And I love today killed me, you guys. She straps like Nick is showing her how to put the knife, strap it around her leg, and then she's got the knife. And did you love that? Did you guys laugh at that, or did you?
Well, it's very Ursula Andress.
It was totally, that's it. It was sexy Ursula Andress thing.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it. I love the writing. I think the story is written so great. It's such a fun, action-packed, action thriller, scary movie, all in one. Like I love how it moves. It's fast-paced. It's really fun to watch. I think so far I've enjoyed watching. It's coming along, and I did like that part where Nick straps the knife to Sharon. It's like I think that's hot.
It was like a hot Bond Ursula Andress thing, and I'm like, and then at the end of the episode today, he's there, which is great.
Was good.
Now
we got to tune in.
Here we go. And it's just sitting with Sharon in one of our whichever one of our dressing rooms, I don't remember, and we just you're bouncing it back and forth, and you're finding things that they didn't know were there, and it's so much fun to work with an actress as talented as you.
Ditto.
It's really fun. It's really, really fun.
Well, I hope we keep working together because
we will. Yeah, it's small town, small world.
Small town, and who knows? people always come back in soap, so maybe Cameron will come back, and
You never know.
he returned after 20 years, he could return again.
Anybody in the chat room,
love-
we're coming up with a name if he has a twin.
Yes, I love the idea of your twin. We're coming up
And if
with
you have a name for a twin, let us know.
Yeah,
Twin's name for
I have
Cameron.
my idea, but I
Yeah.
think it should be something dark.
Or just like Mark.
Just- Now,
Bill.
now Phil,
Hi, I'm
Oh,
Phil Kirsten.
Bill Kirsten.
Bill Kirsten.
Bill
No,
Kirsten.
I have like a good name. I won't say what I thought it should be. At first, I want to hear what everybody out there
See what
thinks.
they say. I'll let you know. I was gonna say, how has it been working with Josh or Morrow in these scenes too, Linden? Because I have to laugh. He's totally getting himself framed. He's totally working himself up. Cameron's one step ahead of him, knows exactly what he's doing, and then today he's trying to tell Sharon, like, you got to do this, and you got to do that.
For me, working with Josh is a treat, and I love Josh, and I always forget how freaking big Josh is. Josh is so just freaking strong.
Yeah.
He is a big, strong guy,
Yeah.
and it's that thing of like, he's rolling up on you, and you're looking at him, you're like, all right, where am I gonna hit this son of a bitch? And it's, he's so physically gifted. He's like, if we had a fight scene, he's just right there. And it was really good. It's fun to do action with him. And as an actor, Josh is one of those guys, you can throw him anything. You can toss him anything. And he's going to be like, it's like playing ping pong. He just hits it right back.
Yeah.
He doesn't ruffle easily.
No, he's willing to go, anywhere. I love that about working with him too. He's so easy to work with and fun.
And he doesn't, a honest to God leading man on a daytime drama, he doesn't work with a ton of ego. He really doesn't.
No.
It's such a treat. He'll do anything.
And Sharon, a lot of people thought originally, not knowing how long the arc of the story was, was this a story to potentially put Nick and Sharon back together? Would Shecky get back together? But it seems like he's really just supporting her, having the history of both of them going through Cameron's before, dealing with him before, more being supportive of her than drawing them together in a different way.
Yeah, this isn't a love story. This is a scary movie. So for now it is. We'll see what happens.
For now it is.
What from that one day, but right now we're telling a good scary movie, and it's such a fun pace to add that pace to the show. It's really
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing that. Like I said, I love doing that kind of a movie. But as I was saying to Maddie, we can't maintain that all the time. This isn't the Bourne Identity. This is The Young and the Restless. But for a minute, it can be.
Yeah, but and you can't, because these kind of storylines, you go through characters.
Yeah.
It's like, you start burning through characters with this. It's like it would be like, oh, so and so's dead now. And it'd be like, oh shit, they were one of my favorite characters.
But I hope they can just come back to life.
No, you can't. You gotta have
it depends what show you're on.
There has to be repercussions.
Or twins.
Twins, or triplets, or
triplets, right? Maybe it's a big family.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you did your original scenes together 20 years ago, didn't you have to hit him? Wasn't there a champagne bottle? Wasn't there other things that she did? Like, didn't she go the body? She had to find the body. The body wasn't, she went looking for the body.
I did drag his body out of that hotel room initially, put it in the trunk of my car, drove around with it for a few days, panicked. And then I think I enlisted Nikki at that point, or I don't know. I think I got him down. Maybe I got him down into the sewer by myself. I enlisted Nikki's help later to find it and move the body. So there was a lot involved in how I got rid of Cameron. And then he went dead. Of course not. See, you weren't dead before. You can not be dead thousands of times.
Were you actually stuffed in the trunk of a car?
Yep, I think so. And it was winter. It was winter.
Yeah.
And are you guys in Michigan or Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
Or no,
Wisconsin.
I know this because I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it wrong. It's
Okay, so somebody is saying, Sandra is saying Dimitri would be a good name for Cameron's twin.
Dimitri,
Dimitri
that is
Kirsten.
a good name. I love that.
Name. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Dimitri.
She's like,
don't think we're not.
I know.
Nice to meet you. Maybe Sharon digs him.
So, Linden, you're married to Susan Walters.
I am.
Do you guys now? What has she thought of this whole? Have Susan and you run lines together? As she
Oh my God! Yeah. You know what? I could not have done it without Susan. It was, you know, she absolutely. We ran lines. She, you know, was there to kind of help me out, and that was really one of the things I was worried about. I'm not used to this kind of pace, you know, in work. Different kind of pace, but you know, different pressures. But it's like what these guys do is it's freaking terrifying. You know, you guys, you do a show and a quarter a day.
I have no idea.
I don't know how you do it.
I just go where they point me.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's like that, you know, you do it and you leave and you're like, got it. Good. Go home, learn it for the next day.
Yeah.
Got it. Good. Go home, learn it for the next day.
Learn dialogue for the next day. I mean, it can be like that sometimes. And then, but then when you get breaks, you know, you're not,
front burner
the storyline for a period of time. And you're like, thank God I'm not, because I have my evenings to myself. And so, but you know, it's back and forth, like, you know, through the years I've done this and Josh and I for many years now, but that's, you know, probably how we have survived that, is that, you know, there are breaks.
Yeah.
So we have Susan to also thank for your great performance.
100 million%, because there was a moment when I was thinking about doing it. I'm like, I told Josh and I told Susan, I'm like, guys, I don't know that I don't know if I can do this. And they were like, yeah, you can do it, you know. And then Sharon helped me, and you know, Josh helped me, and everybody helped me. Josh.
I remember there was a day you had so much to say.
Holy cow.
I thought, okay, I've worked for a long time. I know one thing for sure. I could not have done that amount. I could not have. And here were you worried because you're not used to it. You were pulling it off. You seemed like it was no problem.
Well, then I faked it good.
I did then.
You probably faked it good, huh? No, I'm sure. But you started on Loving years ago, right?
I did.
You were Curtis Alden number 2.
I was.
Yes, he was on Loving. Yep.
Yeah. That's how Susan and I met.
Yep.
Yeah, we played cousins.
She was Lauren Forbes.
And that was you know, that was a lot. That the producer on that show was a lot. guy named Joe Stewart, and
oh, I don't know.
Yeah, man, I don't think he's alive anymore, but he was not a good guy. And you know, it's like if you went up, you got called to the office and you got screamed at, and you know, then he'd come on stage and he'd scream at actors, and he, you know, I probably deserved it, to be totally honest. I was probably a pain in the ass, but he was a lot, and I think he did a lot of damage to a lot of people.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of those guys.
That's when I remember first seeing you, and then I know I saw you on Melrose Place. I saw you
Yeah.
Teen Wolf. I know you're on Days of Our Lives for a bit.
I did that. Well, when Ed went over there, he called and said, "Will you come and do this little arc?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Was Ed over at Days for a while?
For a hot second, yeah,
Just like a blip.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
There's a question for you from Jeffrey Long. Said, I have a question for Linden. Aside from
Okay.
Joshua and Sharon, how did it feel to work with Raylan Castor?
You know what? I love Raylan. And Raylan's boyfriend is on a really good friend of mine's show.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, her boyfriend is on Wolfpack, and he's a really good actor. And she's amazing. And I think good things are going to happen for her.
Yeah, I think so too.
How is that working with her, Sharon, Raylan?
She's just so kind and very professional. She always knows her lines. We don't get in trouble if we forget a line over here. It's pretty friendly. But you know what? She never does. She's ready to go. She means it. She's a wonderful actor. I remember one of her first days here, she was a recast suddenly. So I can imagine how hard that probably is and the pressure on her. She was had to do some scenes in a hospital room where she just recovered from a kidney transplant and she was crying. She did an amazing job. It's hard to start a new job, and this girl just took off and ran with it.
It's so amazing when you see somebody step in and they're fearless, and you're like, hats off. That's what you got to be. It's a art in general. I think creating you fear is your enemy. No fear, none.
Sherry's asking a really good question, actually, and this is for Sharon. Do you wish Mariah was more involved in the story since Cameron killed her bio dad, Frank?
That's a good point. I mean, well, you would think, right? She finds out Cameron's back in town. That would have to be jarring for her to consider her bio dad was killed by him. But, we're telling a story. We're trying to fit so many different aspects in to the storytelling all at once. Like we didn't really have that much time to stretch it out and tell every single person's point of view about Cameron. Of course, if Cameron had been there longer, I'm sure we would have.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe Sharon and Mariah will still talk about it,
Right.
Maybe.
Poor Frank.
Poor Frank.
Sharon's first boyfriend.
Yeah. George is saying, Sharon, you're bringing it. You've always brought it. Emmy-worthy performance. And they're talking about the
Damn, girl.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Who said that?
George,
I agree.
Thanks, George. Hope so. Thank you.
Yeah, Sharon. So the scene we saw that, she gets so emotional, she's realizing, and she kind of verbalized how Cameron thinks, or she thinks he.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, that was a really good scene, and that aired today.
Okay.
Because she knows what she's dealing with, is what she's basically telling them.
That's right.
And so what does she think she's dealing with? She thinks she's dealing with he's delusional, she feels.
Mm-hmm. And I remember she says, yeah, he doesn't bluff. He's a killer.
He's a killer.
Yeah. He's a very scary guy. That's very, you're right. When she describes him that way, that's pretty scary. But thinking back to what happened in that hotel room in Denver was that was a pretty graphic.
He abused her.
Yeah.
He really did. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it in a little while. I probably should have refreshed my memory and looked at it before we shot that scene. But and they probably didn't re-air all of it. But Linden, those were really rough scenes.
Yeah, they were.
I remember that. That was scary stuff that happened in that hotel.
And it was stuff that you don't normally see on TV. And it wasn't, it was sexy, and then suddenly it takes this turn.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's just violence. And it's this guy getting off on not like being rough or, no, beating this woman, beating her, punching her, beating her, putting her in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it was always this, this kind of thing that I don't get it. There's nothing that's arousing about that to me. And it was weird doing it. And that was a long time ago. That was 20 years ago that we did that. And I remember doing it and being like, holy shit, we're going there.
Yeah, we just went for it. And it's funny, like I at the time, that's some more difficult material. It was we had to be in quite a lot of close proximity between the fighting scenes and the sexual part of it. And I think it was quite new to those scenes. And Linden and I worked together as if we've known each other for like 150 years.
I mean, we're laying there.
Okay.
We're laying there basically naked together, like one of the
and
first.
We don't even notice or care. Like we're just like, go, okay, we're ready.
Right.
Like
All right.
we were just so into the scenes and into making them perfect. And then I didn't see him for 20 years. And then once again, we're just like, oh, hey, hi, Linden. Oh, let's, rendezvous, whatever.
Catch up, 20-year recap.
So unusual to not, there's like no level of discomfort or unfamiliarity between me and Linden for some reason.
Well,
I don't know.
That's trust.
Yeah, it's trust.
And it's like we don't hang out together. We're not like BFFs off, in real life, but it's like I completely trust you to take care of me, and I think you trust me to take care of you. And
I think you're right.
And it's like we're gonna go there. We're gonna go to these places, but it's
gonna be okay.
Yeah, and it's fun to kind of
go
there.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun.
It's like
we're gonna be glad we did it.
It's like being a kid, and you're playing and you're like doing and you're like, ooh, that was scary. And yeah.
But it just seems like with like domestic like abuse and people beating each other after sex, like all of these topics have come up a lot in the last 20 years.
Right.
In real life stories about how you hear these twisted stories of, they were having sex and then he beat her, or things that come out. And I feel like it kind of was an important story in a weird way. At the time, it wasn't Bill Bell and Always with the Show originally on the forefront of telling important stories of the time.
Yes. I mean, you would know more than I, Sharon.
Well, I think you're right, Michael, that, it was a topic, a social topic at the time. Bill Bell always did bring up topics like that in his storytelling, though this one was not Bill's story. I think, Young and the Restless has just remained that way. And that's part of what this show is and Bill's legacy, that he told, relevant social stories. And so we've kept in line with that. Sharon did her the cancer story a few years ago, as well as several other actresses on the show. Every few years we visit that issue. So we keep that up.
Olga says, please never recast Cameron, never. The best bad character ever. Good job, sir. Emoji, thank you, and a punch. A fist pump.
Oh, yay. I agree.
Thanks.
And then MJJ asked, did you have to choreograph those original violent scenes? Did you choreograph them? And did that take time? Do you remember how that?
I'm sure we did. Yeah. Yeah.
Fight scenes are heavily choreographed. Love scenes are too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. We had to have choreographed them. Yeah. You don't just, God help you if you just jump into a fight scene.
No, it has to be so that it's safe. You have a stunt coordinator there usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you still get banged up.
Yeah, always. I know that by now. when I see I'm gonna be in a fight scene, I'm like, okay, who's going to see her cyanide?
Yeah, there's a moment where when Nick and I are fighting that suddenly I didn't feel it happening. I guess that he got me with his shoulder and I was like this, I think, and just put my tooth through my lip. And you're walking off and I'm like, I feel this sting and I'm like, oh God, I'm just pouring blood. But it works for the scene.
Yeah, it did. I remember that. And I thought, but I wasn't surprised. When these boys are fighting, they mean it. They want to get this fight scene down right. I mean, any of the boys on the show, as long as I've been here, when they get their choreography, they want to make this fight scene look real. And you know what? Somebody's going to get a little bit banged up, and that's okay. We're actors.
What about the girls in the cat fights?
Not as often with the girls in the cat fights, but but still it does. Like I remember when Phyllis and I did the chocolate fight, there are mishaps. Nobody thought that the chocolate would get all over the floor while we're fighting and that it would be slippery. You can't think of everything.
And you went down on something.
Well, in the chocolate fight, I fell and then she fell. And then you know what we do? We just keep going. She started just beating me up on the floor, got on me and was beating, that wasn't part of the choreography, but something is going to go wrong and you just keep going. But no, there was another fall I took, and it's on camera as well, but I can't say anything about it yet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But stay tuned.
We got you. We hear you. You. Sharon, Kim is asking, you mentioned in an interview, is this correct? Let me ask you that. Did you get injured or banged up in an attempted rape scene with Matt Clark? Does that ring a bell? In 2001?
I remember that was in a car. So we were really, fighting with space and the steering wheel. And, I never in any of these scenes have I gotten injured badly. You get, some bumps, some scrapes and bruises, that happens when I go home. My puppy chews my hand to death. I'm a crazy 9-month-old puppy. Stuff happens. I get my hand chewed. He's so cute. My sweet new puppy, but stuff happens. It's not that bad. We're not talking anything horrible,
okay.
Right? Because a lot of precaution is taken with the stunt coordinators and so forth. But it's not going to go off without any hitch at all. Something's going to happen, but you expect that and you're used to that, and that's part of the fun.
Linden M is saying, I can't believe he dug a tunnel under Sharon's house without anyone noticing it being done at the property.
Yeah, like
I was determined.
Determined.
Yeah.
So how do you
get
to the mindset to do this part? Like, you're about to do the scene. Where do you have to go?
Well, it's actually really easy because his motives are, and this is going to sound insane, they're absolutely pure. He loves this woman.
Right.
He's a mess. His love is probably as toxic as it can get, but I genuinely love her. That's it. And it all comes out of love. And it's just straight up. That's it. Yeah. And it is those moments when we're doing these scenes, Sharon, and it's like I'm talking to you and I see you're talking to me, and it's almost like we go, and then you go, and I watch something click in you of like, I'm not, this guy's insane. But it's a very seductive thing between these two people. And if he hadn't been, had a screw loose, and beat her, I think they would have gotten along. They'd be together.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was so weird or interesting or diabolical about these two initially they really liked each other. That's why they
Yeah.
slept together.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Cameron weren't like so crazy and mean, these two would be a great pair. And there's like somewhere in them, they both have an awareness of that. They both are aware that there's,
Yeah.
that
And
element of it was, hey, in the beginning and at first I really liked you. That like how, and then how did this happen?
And that was one of the fun things too, is that there are moments where Cameron knows he's a train wreck. He knows he's not right. And he can't stop, and that's, it's interesting as a therapist, not that you are a therapist, but I'm not a therapist, but I play one on TV.
I play
And it's like, how do you diagnose this guy? What the hell happened? And I thought about that a lot. I'm like, what happened to Cameron Kirsten to make him like this?
Wasn't there something in the backstory with his parent? I thought there was.
Yeah, his dad. His
dad. What was it?
Yeah.
Do you remember? It was. Was he abused?
Yeah, and then he went to military school, and he was, and I don't remember, but I know that it was, and it's always something with your parents, right? Or some people are just born. There's a very tiny percentage of people that are just born bad, wrong, broken, and he, or is it that they had everything, and it just, you think you can do anything anytime you want to do it. I don't know. It's an interesting story, I hope.
Well, when Cameron comes back, or his brother,
He can explain it.
he will explain what happened with parents. Maybe it's
Mhm.
flashbacks that are newly created.
Now,
Mhm.
there was a scene, and I do, Sarah is asking, was that scene how was the scene jumping out of an airplane? That looked like it must have been a lot of fun to shoot. This was back 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There was the escape, right? They were escaping or something off the plane, and they
Yep.
shoved Cameron out of the plane. Like there was,
Yeah.
they shoved
You out.
They shoved him out, and then Nick and Sharon parachuted out. There was the parachuting. It was crazy. And then they landed in a cornfield.
I know. They were.
Well, I can tell you this: it's never fun being in a parachute harness for any length of time.
No.
Up on wires, and you think it's going to be really fun, and then after a few hours, you're like, "Yeah, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Get me out of this thing."
Yeah, there was that's kind of uncomfortable. You had to do a lot of maneuvering around. You and Nick had a fight in the plane, so you're having a fight with this body strap all over you. And then Joshua and I at one point to shoot the I think maybe you too, to shoot the scene, the bit where they can like see us falling from the sky. We kind of bungee jumped. We were
on wires, and
we were on a bungee.
you were in a parachute harness and being, and I remember, it was like
in an airport hangar at Van Nuys Airport.
Yeah. Yep. Big green screen or blue screen. I don't know which we use, green or blue. And it was, and Mike Denny was directing.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, trying to get him, this is not the world that he comes from. It's like, he's an amazing director, but it's like he's getting them to pull the the ropes and the actors are going up and down and up and down and up and down. And there was a moment when I said, look, I don't want to, this is not my business, and you can tell me to get lost. But I came from that background, action world. And I said, don't fly the actors, fly the camera. You got a hothead here. Fly the camera instead. And he's like, suddenly we're out of there, and he goes, you just saved my night. and so I was like, okay, good. Yeah, and that's what the filmmaking is like, the most collaborative thing you can do. No one person makes a film. It takes a village. And that's kind of what I love about it.
Yeah.
Sherry is asking, I hope Sharon is the heroine in this and doesn't have to be saved by Nick. We all want Sharon and or Raylan to get justice this time. Girl power. What can you tease, Sharon? Hold on to our socks, and I'm afraid.
I went into this thinking the same thing and wanting it to go the same way. I was right on the same page with you, and I think you're going to be pleased.
How do you know, Sherry, that Cameron doesn't win?
That Cameron doesn't what?
Win.
That's true. That may be pleasing. Cameron might win, and then Sharon might strike back. We'll,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
But
wouldn't.
girl power.
Hey, I want girl power. I got a wife and 2 daughters. I want girl power, power, power.
Yeah.
They're asking me to ask you what you think, Linden, of Susan's story on Y&R.
I think Susan I think that kid's got a future in this business.
Yeah,
she's amazing. It's hard. It's Diane goes all over the place. I love Peter and I love Michael and Christian and Michelle and it's like, that's one other thing about working on Y&R. It's such a great place to work. I mean, it's just nice people. There are no assholes. There are literally no assholes. And it would be insufferable if there were. It's just too much work. The work's too hard. And it's just company. It's just this sort of what's the right word? It's a culture of kindness and teamwork and can do, and it's just an amazing place to work. Actually, it really is.
There's a lot of support.
When you guys filmed these climactic scenes that we will eventually see, these big scenes.
Yeah.
What happened? You can't tell us what happens, but were you guys like, was it drained at the end, or were you like, okay, bye, see you?
We had some pretty long days and then a pretty short turnaround. I think there was maybe I worked one of the longest days I ever have. I'm talking like 13, 15, 18 hours. And then I was back here 6 hours later. There some of that. But when you do big scenes like that, that's going to happen. When we shot the gala, that happened. We used to shoot big stuff like this all the time, like we were just saying, back in the days when Cameron was here then. And you were in for long evenings. That used to be normal for us. Now it occasionally happens.
Yeah, it was. That day was start to finish, right?
Yeah, it was.
We started the day and we finished the day there.
Oh my God, I just remember walking into the work that day and seeing that set.
And
my God,
when they
spent 18 hours on that set.
That airport set was amazing. And then we were in the airport, and then we ran out and we were on the streets, and then the car chase.
Yeah.
And then the gunfight and the gunfight and that thing in the jet was nuts.
Did you know from the beginning? Did both of you know from the beginning in 2003, in the 2003-2004, the first run, did both of you know going in when she slept with him and he was going to be abusive? Did you know the arc of this? Like, did you have any idea? Did you know going in it was going to be this, what kind of guy he was really going to be? Or did they just keep writing it the more they like Linden's creepy performance? You know what I mean? Creepy and brilliant performance.
Thank you.
I didn't know. I generally don't know the storyline in advance. I just work here. I just show up and
she's just one of the stars of the show. You know?
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I don't know anything.
Oh, we've got another name for you. Caleb would be the brother.
Oh, I
Caleb.
like that too. That's a good stuff.
Cameron and Caleb Kirsten.
Caleb, I like
Mm.
too.
And-
Thank you, MJJ1434 and Tisha Corey. I think it's both of them. So that
I like
Uh,
that
yeah.
Sharon should revisit the Cameron Caleb character over and over again and put on her Angelina Jolie and go, kick ass.
You betcha.
all right. So I'm sorry, Linden. You did know as this was going how twisted he was going to be, or just kept getting.
No, and yeah, it was funny when you were saying something. I remember somebody saying a long time ago, they go, the one thing you can say about a guy, you can say, he's an asshole, he's this, he's that, he's whatever, and he can recover, in a social, in a relationship. But if a woman wants to destroy a guy, she goes, he's just creepy. And there's no way a guy can come back from that. Because what do? You go, I'm not creepy. When you say that, it's creepy. So, ladies, if you ever want to ruin a guy,
You're right about that.
yeah,
Creepy.
Oh my God.
yeah, he's just creepy.
And then if you try to defend yourself, you really sell it.
You can't. There's no defense.
There's no defense. Mona from Montreal has stopped. They're one day ahead, so we don't want to hear what Mona has to say about the story. But
Okay.
she said she stopped watching the episode to come see you guys on our chat today. She paused getting into the big scenes to come.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Mona. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you for everybody for showing up. We have fun doing these things, and it wouldn't be fun without y'all.
It's true. So I guess wrapping this up, Linden, it wasn't, you had a great time.
I did. I had a great time. I mean, honest to God, great time. I loved working with Sharon. I loved working with Josh, and I love working with Susan and Raylan. And I just had a great time. I really did. And I didn't think I was gonna.
You did it?
I didn't know what I was
knew
gonna
it
be.
was gonna be crazy hard work, but that's
Yeah.
crazy hard can still turn into fun because
was-
of the accomplishment that and there's so much joy in that.
Yep.
And
there
I
was a
remember-
ton of joy.
And what I loved, Sharon, is when our original talk on your 25th, when I saw that he was coming back, I was like, oh my God, Sharon must be like thrilled about this because you were so emphatic that this was your favorite story.
Yes, and I mean it. And yes, I remember talking about that at my 25th interview, and that you did with me here on the stage before we jumped to how we do it now in Zoom.
Right.
You were here live with me, but I remember talking about that being my favorite story. I was so happy that Linden came back. When I heard this was happening, I think I jumped around.
Like danced around.
I'm so happy I came back, and I love working with you.
And Linda, there's so many wonderful thank yous here in the chat. They're thanking both of you for your work, and they just think you're the best bad guy. And Sharon, you're gorgeous in your dress, and nothing but great comments for both of you. Lyndon, I know you have.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes, thank you, and make sure to watch the upcoming episode.
Yeah, be sure to watch and
Thursday, Friday next week
I
on the
love everyone's comments on Twitter. Thanks for watching and staying tuned and being so enthusiastic about this because we definitely are.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say something really weird. If you're going to follow me on Instagram, it's Linden_Ashby. There's somebody who pretends to be me, and it's kind of weird. And
a picture of a surfer of you.
Yeah.
Surfing? Okay.
I think so. I don't know what I have on there.
So
Yes.
so say it again, your Instagram
It's
is
Linden, my first name, and then _ the little line underneath, and Ashby. So Linden Ashby, just straight Linden Ashby, is not me. I can't even.
I saw
But
it.
I'm verified. So just look for the little check mark.
Yeah.
I have two imposters now on Instagram too, and they've got my face in pictures, and it's not me.
Well,
And I'm
there was
like-
a time when this guy or
Yeah.
woman or person was actually did a much better job at Instagram than I did. So I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe I should just let him do it. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Um,
much for taking the time. It was great to see you, Linden. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you very
Great,
much.
great work.
Hey,
Sharon?
Susan. Oh, no, she says no. But she's saying hi.
Hi,
Hop
Susan.
in, Susan.
They're saying hi.
I want to thank you, Susan, for helping Linden.
Susan,
Oh, she
we
helped
love
me.
that
She
scene, the
helped me
scene
like
that you two did together in the athletic club about the poison drink.
Uh-huh.
It was genius. Oh my God, I wanted to watch more of you two. See if when Cameron comes back to town again, this is another
There you
angle.
go.
Like this is good stuff.
Or
I
Caleb, or
watching
Or
that.
Phil.
or Phil, or
Yeah.
Dimitri.
You guys were amazing together. I
Aw.
hope you guys do
Good.
that.
Come here. Ready? Come here.
Is that my stand-in?
Here's your
Oh,
stand.
Susan Standen. is-
Aw,
I'll say hi.
Frito.
I'm scary, but I'll say hi. Hi.
Hi.
You look adorable.
And Sharon, you're amazing in those promos. Oh my God.
Thanks.
Man,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Awesome. Well
I
done.
thought the promos turned out really nice. They
That's
edited
great.
that really
Great. All right.
nice.
Bye, everybody. I won't.
Hi.
I won't-
What's the name of your dog, Linden?
This is Frito, like a corn chip.
Oh, he is so cute.
Aw. He's
Frito, they're saying you look good.
what a good
Well,
boy.
clearly, Frito's not scared of you, Linden. That's good.
No, he doesn't think I'm creepy.
Don't try to talk us out of that. We're gonna believe it.
Yeah, right. Oh, right. I know. No, I'm not. I'm not creepy. I'm not creepy.
I am not creepy.
Sugarless 20 says Sharon is such a champion of everyone. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
There you
much. That's a really nice compliment. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'll let you go. Watch
Okay.
both on The Young and the Restless weekdays on CBS. Thank you, Linden, Sharon. Much love always.
Thank
And
you.
we'll talk
Thank you.
again.
Thanks
yeah.
for putting this together, Michael. This is such a great idea.
It was
When I
really
heard
fun.
you were doing this.
Really
I'm like,
fun.
oh, Michael, I love your ideas. This is so
Yeah, I have ideas.
you have great ideas. You have great chats. I hope everybody out there enjoys this as much as we did. We have a great time getting together and talking.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, have a great
Thanks
day.
for coming, Linden. Miss you already.
Bye,
I
Linden.
miss you too. See ya.
See you soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you. Bye,
Michael.
Sharon.